Duh.
You stand accused of treason against the crown. How do you plead?
The galaxy had 1,000 ways to measure wealth. Some civilizations counted precious metals. Others valued energy reserves, ancient artifacts, or entire star systems. The mighty Vexari Empire measured wealth in worlds. They owned more than 1,000 inhabited planets, each producing resources that could sustain civilizations for centuries. And standing before the ruler of that empire, I was about to refuse it all. My name is Ethan Carter, captain of the exploration vessel Horizon. 3 years earlier, humanity had only recently discovered faster-than-light travel. We were the newest species on the galactic stage. Young, inexperienced, and largely ignored by the ancient powers that ruled the stars. Most races viewed humans as harmless newcomers. The Vexari viewed us differently. They viewed us as a mystery. It started when my ship answered a distress signal near the edge of known space. The signal belonged to a Vexari royal vessel. Pirates had ambushed the ship and destroyed most of its escort fleet. By the time we arrived, only one vessel remained operational. Against every logical calculation, my crew chose to help. We were hopelessly outgunned. The pirates possessed advanced weaponry and outnumbered us 5-1, but humans had never been known for making safe decisions. We charged directly into the battle. My tactical officer thought I was insane. The pirates probably agreed. Yet sometimes courage succeeds where logic fails. We fought like demons, not because we expected victory, because someone needed help. Hours later, the pirate fleet retreated. Our ship was heavily damaged. Several decks were on fire. Half our systems were offline, but the royal vessel survived. That was the day I first met Queen Liriana. At the time, I didn't know who she was. To me, she was simply an injured passenger requiring medical assistance. The Vexari Queen stood nearly 7 feet tall. Silver-blue skin shimmered beneath the medical bay lights. Her violet eyes seemed capable of seeing directly into a person's soul. Even injured, she possessed an elegance unlike anything I had ever witnessed. She thanked me for the rescue. I shrugged and told her anyone would have done the same. She laughed. It was the first time I'd heard her laugh. Years later, I would realize that moment changed both our lives. After the incident, diplomatic relations between humanity and the Vexari Empire improved dramatically. Queen Liriana frequently requested human representatives for cultural exchanges. Somehow, I always seemed to be selected. At first, our meetings were formal. Then they became conversations, then friendships, eventually something far deeper. She told me stories of planets illuminated by twin suns. I told her stories about Earth. She described ruling an empire that spanned half the galaxy. I described growing up in a small town where everyone knew each other. She found humanity fascinating. Not because we were powerful, because we weren't. Most advanced civilizations had become obsessed with efficiency. Every action served a purpose. Every decision was calculated. Humans were different. We did things simply because they felt right. We explored dangerous regions because we were curious. We helped strangers because we cared. We risked everything for people we loved. To Liriana, that seemed almost impossible. To us, it was normal. Months became years. Friendship became affection. Affection became love. The problem was that neither of us dared admit it. I was a human captain. She was the ruler of the most powerful empire in existence. The gap between us felt larger than the galaxy itself. Then came the crisis. An ancient machine race known as the Car Dominion emerged from deep space. They had slept for millions of years. Now they were awake, and they intended to exterminate every organic civilization they encountered. Entire systems vanished, fleets disappeared, worlds burned. The galactic powers panicked. Many sought negotiation, others attempted retreat. Humanity proposed something different: fight. Not because we were stronger, because surrender wasn't in our nature. The war lasted 2 brutal years. Humans fought beside species that had previously ignored us. We defended worlds that weren't ours. We sacrificed ships to save civilians we'd never met. Gradually, other civilizations followed our example. The galaxy united. For the first time in recorded history, thousands of races stood together, and eventually, together, we won. The Car Dominion fell. The galaxy survived. The celebrations lasted for months. Statues were built. Heroes were honored. Humanity's reputation changed forever. No longer were we the young species struggling to find our place. We had earned it. Shortly after the war ended, I received an invitation. Not from the Vexari government. From Liriana herself. The message requested my presence at the Imperial Palace on Vexaris Prime. No explanation, no details, just an invitation. I accepted immediately. The palace was magnificent. Golden towers stretched into the clouds. Floating gardens drifted between massive structures. Thousands gathered in the central courtyard. Representatives from countless worlds watched from elevated platforms. I quickly realized something unusual was happening. This wasn't a private meeting. It was a ceremony, and somehow I was at the center of it. Then Liriana appeared. The crowd fell silent. She descended a staircase of crystal and light, wearing ceremonial armor adorned with symbols of the Empire. She looked every bit the legendary queen the galaxy admired. Yet her eyes searched only for me. My heart pounded. Something was about to happen. Something important. She stopped a few feet away. For a moment neither of us spoke. Then her voice echoed throughout the courtyard. "Ethan Carter of Earth." I swallowed nervously. "Your Majesty." The crowd watched, thousands waited. Liriana smiled. "3 years ago you saved my life." I nodded. "You would have done the same." She shook her head. "No, most would not." Murmurs spread through the audience. She continued. "You expected no reward." "Correct. You sought no power." "Correct. You risked everything because helping others was the right thing to do." "Yes." Her smile softened. "And throughout war and peace, you have remained unchanged." The silence deepened. Then she raised one hand. A holographic map appeared above us. Thousands of worlds glowed across the stars. The Vexari Empire. 1,000 worlds, countless riches, unlimited power. The largest fortune in the known galaxy. Liriana's voice carried to every corner of the courtyard. "Ethan Carter." She took a step closer. "I offer you the wealth of 1,000 worlds." Gasps erupted from the crowd. Representatives stared in disbelief. No ruler had ever made such an offer. Not in galactic history. My mind struggled to process what I was hearing. The wealth before me was unimaginable. Planets, stores, influence beyond comprehension. Anything a person could desire. Then Liriana spoke the words that changed everything. "You may take anything you desire, human." The courtyard became completely silent. Every eye focused on me. I looked at the stars above, then at the holographic empire. Then finally at Liriana, the woman who had stood beside humanity during its darkest hour. The woman I had loved for years. The woman who believed herself obligated to offer treasures when all I wanted was her. I smiled, a genuine smile, and answered honestly. "I only want you." The silence lasted perhaps 2 seconds. It felt like an eternity. Liriana froze. The crowd looked shocked. Then tears appeared in the queen's eyes. For the first time since I'd known her, she seemed speechless. Finally she laughed. The same beautiful laugh I'd heard years earlier in a medical bay. "You impossible human." The audience watched in stunned confusion. Liriana stepped forward. Then she embraced me. The crowd exploded into cheers. Thousands celebrated. Representatives applauded. Even military commanders who rarely smiled appeared delighted. The queen pulled back slightly and looked directly into my eyes. "Do you understand what you're choosing?" I nodded. "Perfectly. You're refusing the greatest fortune in the galaxy." "I know. And you have no regrets." "Hmm." She smiled. "Good." The holographic map vanished. The wealth of 1,000 worlds disappeared. Because in that moment, none of it mattered. Not to her, not to me. Months later, our wedding became the most widely viewed event in galactic history. Humans celebrated, Vexari celebrated. Entire worlds declared holidays. More importantly, it symbolized something greater. A future built on unity rather than power. A future where trust mattered more than wealth. Years passed. Peace flourished. Humanity continued exploring the stars. The Vexari Empire remained strong. Together, Liriana and I helped guide an era unlike any the galaxy had ever known. Sometimes people asked if I regretted refusing the wealth of 1,000 worlds. I always laughed. Because they misunderstood the question. I hadn't rejected a fortune. I had chosen the greatest treasure in existence. Not gold, not planets, not power, love. And every morning when I woke beside the alien queen, I knew I had made the right choice. After all, 1,000 worlds are impressive, but they can never compare to finding the one person who makes the entire universe feel like home.